My boyfriend deleted an innocent message from another girl, took his phone to the bathroom to hide it, lied to my face for over an hour while I cried and questioned, admitted it only after I promised not to break up with him, and now I'm terrified. I really need some outside opinions because I honestly feel like I'm losing my mind over this situation, and I can't tell anymore if I'm overthinking or if my instincts are trying to tell me something is wrong. For context, my boyfriend and I have been together for about 4.5 years, and we don't live together. This all happened yesterday, right before he left for a 1-week school trip. Yesterday morning, I was with him before he was supposed to leave. He was scheduled to leave around 3 p.m., go to a friend's place first, let's call him James, to pick him up and then head to the airport together. Everything about the morning felt normal at first. At one point that morning, I briefly had his phone in my hands. I wasn't snooping or intentionally looking for anything suspicious, but for some reason I opened WhatsApp. That's when I noticed a message from a girl whose number wasn't saved in his phone. I'll call her Sarah. The message said something like 3:20 p.m., right? What stood out to me was that the chat was muted. At the time, I didn't immediately panic. I assumed she was probably just someone traveling with them, or maybe someone coordinating transport to the airport. I didn't want to jump to conclusions or create an issue over nothing, so I brushed it off and didn't say anything. Later on, while we were having breakfast, he got a WhatsApp message from his family group chat. He opened it quickly and then put his phone back down. He was standing while I was sitting, so I couldn't see the screen, but nothing about that moment struck me as strange. We continued talking about his trip. He told me who he'd be staying with in their Airbnb and who would be traveling with him. He explained that several groups were taking the same plane, but not everyone would be leaving at the same time because the school only gave them a general time frame and left the rest up to the students to organize. That all made sense. He mentioned a few friends he'd be staying with, and then casually added that one girl from his friend group, let's call her Marie, would also be flying with them. I asked where she would be sleeping, since normally boys and girls aren't allowed to stay in the same house. He said she would probably be staying with Katie and Anne, who were also flying on the same plane. At the time, the conversation felt normal, and I didn't think much of it. He then repeated again that he was leaving at 3 p.m., that his dad would be driving him, and that they would stop to pick up James before heading to the airport. He also mentioned that he wasn't sure yet how he'd get home after the trip because his dad had other plans and I would be in school. I remember thinking that maybe he could ride back with the same people or possibly with the girl from earlier, but before I could ask, we got distracted and moved on to something else. After breakfast, we went upstairs to shower. While we were walking up the stairs together, I noticed that his mom had sent him a message on WhatsApp. I asked him if I could open it, and he said yes without hesitation. I opened the message, read it briefly, and then closed WhatsApp again. That's when I noticed something that made my stomach drop. The chat from Sarah, the girl whose message I had seen earlier that morning, was completely gone from the messaging list. It hadn't just moved down, it wasn't archived. It wasn't there at all. I didn't say anything right then because we were literally standing on the stairs, halfway between rooms, and it didn't feel like the right moment to confront him about something I wasn't even sure about yet. But from that second on, I couldn't stop thinking about it. My mind kept replaying the moment I had seen her message earlier, the fact that the chat had been muted, and now the fact that it had suddenly disappeared. Once we were in the bathroom, I pointed at our phones and asked if he could hand his to me for a second. Instead of giving me his phone, he grabbed my phone and held it up like that was what I meant. That alone felt strange. Normally, always, without exception, he gives me his phone right away. He usually jokes that I need to save my battery so we can still text when I get home because I don't use my phone while it's charging. This time, though, something was different. I told him, "No, your phone." And he immediately said that he needed to go to the bathroom and wanted to take his phone with him. I asked why he couldn't just give it to me for a second. He refused and said he wanted to be on his phone. I told him he could just use my phone instead, but he laughed it off, brushed past me, and walked out of the bathroom with his phone. That has never happened before. Ever. I was honestly shocked. I just stood there for a second, trying to process what had just happened, and then went back upstairs to his bedroom. My heart was racing at that point, and I already felt sick to my stomach. When he came back, I didn't want to dance around it anymore. I took his phone, opened WhatsApp, and confronted him directly. I told him that I had seen a message from a girl earlier that morning and that the chat had suddenly disappeared. I asked him why he deleted it. He immediately denied everything. He said he had no idea what I was talking about, that he didn't get any message, and that he didn't delete anything. I felt myself getting really upset because I knew I hadn't imagined it. I knew exactly what I had seen. I wasn't half asleep. I wasn't distracted. I saw that message clearly. He asked who the person was who supposedly sent the message. That question alone made me feel even more frustrated, because how was I supposed to know who she was? Her number wasn't saved. All I knew was what I had seen. So I went into his school group chats and started scrolling. That's when I found the same profile picture I remembered from earlier, this time under the name Sarah. When I opened the chat with her, it was completely empty. No messages at all. I told him again that she had texted him confirming a time. He then changed his story slightly and said, "Okay, I saw that message, but I didn't delete it." At that point, I honestly felt like I was going insane. How could a WhatsApp chat just disappear like that? He then explained that Sarah was going to James's house, and that my boyfriend and his dad were supposed to pick both of them up before heading to the airport. On its own, that explanation wasn't the issue. There was nothing inherently wrong with that. What I couldn't understand, and what I kept coming back to, was why the message was gone. I even tried to give him the benefit of the doubt. I checked how deleting a WhatsApp chat actually works. You have to swipe, tap the three dots, and then choose Delete Chat at the bottom of the screen. There's no way to do that accidentally. It takes several deliberate steps. Still, he was so convincing in how strongly he denied it that I started doubting myself. For almost an hour, he kept insisting that he didn't delete anything. He suggested that maybe Sarah deleted her own message because he hadn't replied. I explained and even tested it right in front of him. That WhatsApp clearly shows when a message has been deleted by the sender. It literally says this message was deleted. That wasn't the case here. The chat was just gone. He started Googling how this could have happened. He was shaking, almost crying, and saying things like, "You know me, I would never do that, and why are you accusing me of this?" He kept repeating, "I don't know why you wouldn't believe me, and I don't know what to do or what to tell you." At some point, I actually started feeling bad. I know how horrible it feels to be accused of something you didn't do, and seeing him like that made me question myself. But logically, a WhatsApp chat doesn't just disappear into thin air. I asked him again why he wouldn't let me see his phone when he went to the bathroom. That's when he said he had a note with a surprise for me for Valentine's Day and didn't want me to see it. That explanation honestly made zero sense to me. He knows how much I hate surprises. He also has plenty of notes with things I shouldn't see, like gift ideas or plans, and I have never once gone through his notes app. I wouldn't even think to do that. The excuse just didn't line up with his behavior, especially since he's never refused to hand me his phone before, not once in over 4 years. At that point, I felt completely torn between what I was seeing with my own eyes and what he was telling me. I couldn't tell if I was being gaslit, if something was being hidden from me, or if there was some bizarre explanation I just couldn't understand. At that point, I tried to slow the conversation down and look at it logically. I told him, "Okay, let's say you really didn't delete that message. Then explain something else to me." I asked why he never mentioned Sarah when we were talking earlier about who was going to the airport, especially since he mentioned multiple other people. He had even gone into detail about Marie sharing a room with Katie and Anne, but somehow forgot to mention Sarah entirely. Later, after everything started unraveling, he suddenly added Sarah to the list of people Marie would be staying with, as if she had always been part of that plan. At first, he said he had simply forgotten that Sarah was coming. That explanation made absolutely no sense to me, because just minutes before that conversation, he had opened WhatsApp and seen her message. I reminded him of that. Then his story changed. Suddenly, he claimed he had never even seen the message at all, and that he was only repeating what I said I saw. That moment hit me hard because it genuinely felt like gaslighting. One minute he acknowledged the message, the next minute he acted like it never existed, and like I was putting words in his mouth. Eventually, after going back and forth, he finally admitted the real reason he didn't mention her. He said he thought I would get jealous or upset if he told me he was riding to the airport with another girl. That honestly hurt because it wasn't true. I have never had an issue with him having female friends or working with girls. He then explained that he gets jealous when I go out with friends from my major, which is a science major and therefore very male-dominated. He said that because he feels that way sometimes, he assumed I would feel the same when he went on school trips with girls or even when he has group projects with them. I tried to explain to him that I genuinely don't feel that way. I trust him. I don't care if he travels, studies, or works with other women because I believe he wouldn't cross any boundaries. What hurt wasn't Sarah being there, it was him choosing to hide it. At some point, after nearly an hour of circular arguments, denials, and changing stories, I was emotionally exhausted. I told him to stop deflecting and just tell me the truth. I said that I was waiting to hear what I already knew. He then asked me if I would break up with him if he had deleted the message. I told him no. I didn't say that because I was okay with it. I said it because I knew he wouldn't admit anything otherwise, even though I was already certain. And only after I said that did he finally admit it. He admitted that he had deleted the chat. I asked him why he went to the bathroom with his phone earlier, and he admitted that it was to delete the chat as well. That answer didn't fully sit right with me, because I could swear the chat was already gone before he went to the bathroom. But by that point, I was so drained from having to pull the truth out of him piece by piece that I didn't have the energy to keep pushing. So, I accepted it. I still don't actually know what he did in the bathroom, or what exactly happened in that moment. All I know is that it took denial, story-changing, emotional breakdowns, and reassurance that I wouldn't leave for him to finally tell the truth. He told me that it was the first time Sarah had ever sent him a message, and honestly, I'm not even questioning that. That part isn't what's bothering me. I genuinely don't think he's cheating, and that's not the reason I'm upset or spiraling over this. What hurts the most is not that a girl messaged him. I truly don't care about that at all. What hurts is that he hid something, lied about it for almost an hour, and watched me cry, panic, and doubt my own reality while insisting that nothing had happened. Lying and hiding are literally the two things I hate more than anything, and he knows this. I've told him countless times over the past 4 years how deeply those things affect me. I don't think most people can even fathom the level of anger and distress hiding and deleting trigger for me. It feels infuriating on a level that's hard to explain. His explanation was that he didn't want me to get angry or start asking questions like, "Who is that? Why did she message you? Why didn't she message someone else?" He said he wanted to avoid an uncomfortable conversation. He brought up a situation from the past where he suddenly followed his ex on Instagram again. I had asked questions about it, who sent the follow request first, why it happened, and I admittedly got annoyed for maybe 10 minutes because he couldn't prove who initiated it, since he said he always deletes his Instagram activity. According to him, that experience made him scared that I'd get mad over anything even remotely similar in the future. To me, that explanation feels incredibly weak. I didn't lose trust in him back then because he followed his ex. I lost trust now because he chose to hide something small and then lie about it repeatedly. If he's willing to delete something this insignificant just to avoid a potentially uncomfortable conversation, I can't stop wondering what else he might be hiding or deleting for the same reason. That thought alone is terrifying to me. What makes it even worse is that now he knows exactly how I react when I catch him deleting something. That means if he ever does it again, I can't help but feel like he'd just take more precautions so I'd never find out. The idea that I could never know if something was deleted or hidden moving forward makes me feel incredibly unsafe emotionally. I'm stuck in this awful place where my head and my heart are fighting each other. On one hand, this is one mistake, one big, painful mistake, but still just one. On the other hand, that mistake hits directly at my biggest boundary. It's one con against a lot of pros, but it's a con with serious weight. Because besides this, he really is an amazing boyfriend. He's kind, attentive, supportive, and would genuinely give me the world if he could. That's what makes this so hard. I don't want to make any rash decisions based purely on emotion. I don't want to throw away a relationship that's been loving and solid over one incident. But at the same time, I don't know how to sit with the knowledge that he looked me in the eye, denied something I knew was true, and let me doubt myself for so long just to protect his own comfort. I honestly don't know what to think anymore, and that's the scariest part of all. How do you rebuild trust after someone hides something small, deletes evidence, and then lies about it for over an hour while watching you cry and doubt your own memory? Is it reasonable to be this shaken even if I don't believe he's cheating? How do I know this won't happen again now that he knows how to hide things better? Am I overreacting, or is this kind of lying a serious red flag I shouldn't ignore?